Hello, this is Wylan with the FPV podcast. Before we get into the content of the podcast, I'd just like to let you know that we have open ticket sales for the Kentucky Speedway race. We're going to be racing at the quarter-mile track, which is located inside the Kentucky Speedway. We also have access to the fan zone, the Bluegrass Hall, which is where media and the actual NASCAR drivers sit, which is pretty cool. And of course, you can park inside the track. So it's going to be a great event. If you're interested in flying, definitely go over to our website at droneracing.com and pick up a ticket. Sales tickets are going pretty quickly. And if you have a Phantom or some sort of camera drone and you would like to fly in there, we also have a fun fly ticket that you can get. So definitely check it out and let us know if you have any questions. Thank you so much, and on to the show. Hello everyone, welcome to this week's FPV podcast. I think we're finally back on track again after getting back from Dover, me having to run a big event. I think I'm finally caught up, although if you can tell, I have a really good tan now. I've been out in the sun for like 2 solid weeks and it shows. So one of the awesome things that we did at Dover was we met a bunch of great pilots, which were teams. So we're going to try to get through some of these teams and introduce you to a bunch of great pilots that we met at Dover International Speedway. So without further ado, let me introduce Mac. Mac, say hello to everyone.
Hey, how's everyone doing out there?
Doing well. Okay. Jason, how about you?
Hey guys, what's up? Just chilling. Excited to be here.
Just chilling.
Just chilling. All right, Elvin, I saved you for last because you changed colors on me.
Oh, damn. Now you got me tripped up. Damn, he said that, y'all. I had a joke and then he messed it up for me. But, hello, everybody. I hope y'all doing fine. Get your ass out there and fly. That's what I'm saying.
There we go. There we go. So Concrete Quads was one of the teams that was racing at Dover International Speedway. We have 2 of the members here. They came in third overall, which is awesome considering the experience level that their team had. So we're going to get to know a little bit about you, which is pretty darn cool. So Mac, tell us a little bit about your history.
Oh, okay. So I'm getting into quads and kind of where I started out with that. So, Mac, nickname, Rombot, pilot name. About a year and a half ago, I would say, I kind of started flying quads out in the field, baseball parks, around little parks, mostly line of sight. My brother kind of came up and actually showed me this video of these guys that basically took these mini security cameras, strapped one on board, and were flying these things around watching TV. And I was just, I don't know, I saw it. I didn't know what the hell it was, but I knew I was going to get into it because it was one of the coolest things that I ever seen. So that was kind of into the story for me. And then, like, as soon as I got into it, I've been doing it hard ever since.
Pretty awesome. What about you, Jason?
For me, I got in, I guess it would have been like 3.5, 4 years ago when I was 11 or 12. So
Dang,
I was
he's
young. Yeah, I was young.
Wait. Hold on. 3, 4 years ago when I was 12, 11, 5. Jesus. Dude, I mean, you already look like nobody. Like, if you in the car, we can't buy beer, period. Like, you're the spoiled, the one we leave at home because you can't buy beer while you in the car.
I'm that kid at the Airbnb that stops everybody from having fun time.
That's all right, but you're a great pilot, man. We had a great time with you guys up there in Dover, and you've been flying for a good little while. 3, 4 years, and you came up out of nowhere, man, onto this team, didn't you?
Yeah, pretty much just night before I just showed up, came down, didn't even think I was going to make it in time, but I did.
Yeah, I didn't think you were going to make it either. I was like, man, we're all about to drive up here and just have to drive back home.
No, that would suck. No, we would find somebody. We'd pull somebody out of the crowd or something. It's like, hey, Elvin, we're kicking you off the stage. You're flying for Concrete Quads.
I would have performed well.
Actually, he did have his quads there, so he could have done it. So that's kind of how you got into FPV. Now, go ahead and tell us a little bit of how you decided to form the team. So, I mean, you heard about the Dover races. Like, how did Concrete Quads actually came to be as a team?
So basically the day before, I had heard about the event, like just vaguely, but no one was really talking about it. So the quad racing community, I mean, it's kind of not tight knit. Like everyone's pretty open and outgoing, but like within the group that we were talking about, I seen some of the guys were going and going to be checking it out. However, they had already formed and had their teams like 2 months out. So when I kind of got wind of the whole event and what was the actual scale of it, I don't think it was advertised very well, at least not to like kind of the local pilots and people around there. So when we all got wind of it, it's like, wait, how do we get into this? And we kind of looked into it, and the guy on the team, Farnham, Mark Freshness, he actually went ahead and reached out to the director and said, hey, we don't have like a full huge roster of like teams, so we'll open it up to you guys if by midnight you can get us all of the information that we need and all your pilots.
Right.
So I'm sitting there asking in the chat, hey, is anyone down to kind of come up here? I'll put up the $100 so that we can kind of get into the race and all that. Like, we just need bodies. And so two of the guys were pretty much on the fence. Like Jessica, Rotor Girl, she said, yeah, she was down. Freshness Farnham is like, oh, I want to go, but I work Friday and Saturday. I'm not sure if I'm going to take the day off. So he was kind of back and forth. And so by the end of the night, it's like we had 3 people. We're literally calling pilots that are already at the event the day before, seeing if there's any extra pilot that wants to kind of fly, hitting up Facebook and other things like that, and like multi-GP groups. And it wasn't actually even one of us that found him. It was actually a friend of ours, Juan, who said, hey, there's a guy on this chat over here who's looking for a team to fly with. He's just by himself. So he reaches out to Jay Hubby. And then I go ahead and give Jay Hubby a call, I want to say probably about around midnight or so. And I'm having a conversation with him, kind of discussing the details, the arrangements. And he kind of stops me halfway. And he's like, well, I need to ask my parents' permission to see if I can even go.
The biggest question.
Yeah, so I'm just like, wait, how old are you? It's like 16. I'm like, all right, dude, go ask your parents and give me a call back. So he kind of says, they give him permission. I'm like, when do you have to leave by? He's like, within the next 2 or 3 hours, I need to be on the train. I'm just like, are you even going to make it? Like, should we even try to do this? He's like, I'm packing my things right now. So I said, we got a 4th pilot. I'm packing up. I'll be up at, 4 or 5 a.m. and heading out to this event. And yeah, like even down to the very last minute, I think you guys were asking us for our pilot, the media
right,
sheets,
the media page. We never got one from you.
Yeah, you got one. It was a little late because I kept messaging him, but he wasn't responding. So it was just kind of like, oh yeah, I got all 4. Let me get the last signature over here. Yeah, he's in the parking lot. Just give me a minute.
Yeah.
I think it was literally right before the qualifiers kicked off to where I actually got the phone call. He's like, oh, I'm actually here. I'm running over. I'm like, fill this out, put this on, dude. Let's do this. Let's go. We're flying right now.
Damn.
Literally when we got there, right? I mean, we knew most of the teams and like there were the names. Yeah. And then like we came up and you guys were behind us and you had 3 people. We're like, okay, this must be the new team that just jumped in, right? And we were like,
right.
Well, they're right there, so we could just do media on them. And like we went over there and talked to you, Ron Botts, and it was like, hey, you guys ready for your interviews? And he turns around and is like, our 4th pilot isn't here yet. And I'm like going, what? Well, how does that work? It's like, wait a minute. Like, this is a big race. We're talking about 80,000 people running around, and it's like, it's funny. So, Jason.
An hour past checking the show up.
I know. So, like, Jason, how did you convince your parents to say, hey, I'm going to go to Dover. I'm going to race in front of a bunch of people with people I've never met before?
Very true. So, like, I was actually going to race for Race Flight. They had invited me, basically, a friend of mine, Lincoln, Aerolink on YouTube, had basically gone and was going to set up a team for Race Flight. He invited me. That fell through 4 days before the event, and I wanted to go. I couldn't find a team, so I basically history class on Thursday. Thursday afternoon history class, I found the IDRA community. I put a note. It was like, anybody need a 4th pilot? No response. And then like that night, I think I got 6 private messages from like a few different people saying, oh, we want you. And I just chose the first one, which was Rombot.
All right.
Good choice, man. That was a good choice.
That's right. That was a very good choice.
You fit that like a glove, dog. You fit that like a glove. I was like, who the hell? Because I know Jessica, right? So like I fly, I talk to Jessica from time to time about stuff, that really don't have a lot to do with racing. I mean, I've known her from the AP thing and Amelia Drailhart, the chick that started that, Rihanna Lincoln. started that, or friends of mine. So I know that's how I knew them. Knew of her, and I was like, she said, "Oh, I'm trying to get to the race." I'm like, "How many pilots you got?" She's like, "Well, we got 3. We're trying to get this other one." I'm like, "Man, it'd be nice to see her, And then I was like shocked that you actually showed up. So I think you fit. You was like that last. Like sometimes you go to you cooking stuff. You like to bam, bam, and then you like, wait a minute. Oh yeah,
the last
right
little
there.
piece.
Yeah, that last little flavor, and that's what you was.
And it was great. And this goes to show for anybody who's listening is that no matter how big the race is, as long as you have your stick time in and you can work together and you can communicate, I mean, you can do some pretty cool things because you guys were the clear underdogs. I mean, me and Elvin were talking and Justin were talking. We're like, okay, this team, if they make it into the finals, like they're going to be like the clear cut underdogs that we're going to be rooting for.
Sure.
It was so cool that you guys made it all the way there. By the way, we loved it.
You guys have some side bets going on? I thought.
No, we didn't have any side bets. We were all broke.
We broke. We broke, now. I flew all the way across the country. You know what I'm saying? I flew all the way from Portland to Wise House, and we drove up. So we was tight as it was gonna get. We kind of like how Jay Hubby got there. He had to ask Mama, because I'm sure his grass cutting money ain't enough, right?
No, I've been running a custom built drone business for the last 2 years. That's how I started making money. I was building AP rigs for professional aerial photographers since I was like 13 or 14. That's how I started making a lot of money through that. That's really profitable actually for just what I need to get off my feet for drone stuff. So building AP rigs, they're expensive. They're not hard, but they're intimidating, and that's basically easiest way to do it.
So why are we funding all of the living and hotel expenses?
Hey, whatever works.
Yeah,
because he's still broke.
Dude, traveling is one of the most expensive things, and
that's very true.
If it's one thing that I hate about events like these is that if you don't book early, everything goes up in price astronomically, and it's like, say what?
Astronomically, yes.
But anyways.
And luckily, like I have like sponsors and stuff that support me through everything. They like get me to these races. They're very supportive. Like wanting me to get out there. Thunder Power wants me to get out there. Quadristeria wants me to get out there, and they help pay for hotel expenses sometimes. Or if I need a train ticket or something, they can chip in at the last moment and just buy that, which is really helpful. So it helps me get around.
Pretty
I
cool.
know what that's like.
Yep.
It's still never enough.
Rombots, man. You can learn from this young kid. It's like he needs a little rub down on like all this business stuff so he can get going on it.
I think Rombot just became the manager.
Yeah, there we go. All right. So let's get back on track.
Get my 10%. That's 2 packs of batteries.
No. Okay, so let's get back on track. So you got there. You got your 4th team there. We got you. Your interview done. What did you think of the actual event when you got there? Did you think it was what you expected, or is it a lot more or a lot less?
Well, kind of like you guys said, I'm going to interject here real quick, but just like I was kind of intimidated at first because, we show up, last minute, kind of how we did. We didn't know really what to expect. Didn't have a whole lot of planning and pre-game strategy or anything like that. Almost not even any prep before the race. So I wasn't really even flying or burning any packs and kind of preparing for this race and getting super, super warmed up. I know a lot of the guys, they already knew what the course track layout was and all that stuff, and they'd already set up similar tracks in Velocity Drone and all this other stuff that I heard, and I was just like, I'm seeing it for the first time right now. And everyone's out there, you got Race Flag, you got big other big names Matters out there. These guys are full jerseys, and you see them all the time on the media, other things like that. So it's just like, man, put these stickers on your chest. Walker Right T. So so it was kind of intimidating, but it's just like, hey, I came here to do what I do, and that's what I'm going to do. So
yeah, And like, I'm a freestyle pilot at heart. That's what I've mainly been doing. I was horrible at racing last year. I thought I was never going to actually go to a race after Liberty Cup of last year. I was like, I'm never racing again, because Liberty Cup was such a horrible experience for me because I just did so bad. I did well in freestyle. I just did bad in racing.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm a freestyle pilot at heart. And at the beginning of this year, like midwinter, I have a pretty tight backyard, and I put up some gates and flags back there, and I've been flying about 10 packs every day. So I'm now used to really, really tight courses. I go to a lot of the Maker Faire events, and I fly those. So those are all netted events, which are like maybe a quarter of the size of the IDRA race. So I'm now used to small, basically, theoretically indoor events, flying 5-inch rigs. And I'm used to constantly changing up my course. Like my backyard course, I have like 10, 15 different tracks I can set up back there. So, and I was practicing slaloms because that's what I thought the hardest part of the IDRA course was. And then I show up and I'm like, they're not here. So they took them out. I'm like, oh, that's a plot twist. I was like, so this is now basically just fly as fast as possible and not crash and get your 6 laps in. So I was just like, I'm just going to go there. I shouldn't even be here at this point, really. Didn't even think I was going to make it down. And I'm just going to fly the track and see how many laps I can get in. That was my goal, really.
Cool. Now, since you're already talking, Jason, what did you think of the interview process? Did you enjoy that, or did you think it was kind of awkward to go through that? Because this is the first time I think we've actually ever tried to attempt this.
I never saw the final like product. I haven't seen any like professional footage come out of the event yet from the crew. So I have no idea. If they edit it up and it looks really nice, then it's going to be great. But it didn't seem super awkward from past experiences with interviews and stuff. I did a few of that stuff at Liberty Cup with some like news outlets, and that was a lot more awkward than what you guys did. It seemed pretty streamlined. Like you went over, you had some questions, and we just kind of take turns going back and forth between the pilots.
Yeah, it was hopefully pretty easy. What about you, Rombots? Did you enjoy that?
It was funny because I was actually at Liberty Cup too. I must have missed like Jay Hubby. I actually think I got like DVR recording of your freestyle flight, but I never actually saw or bumped into you at that event. But kind of like a similar situation with like this event and like the tight course like flying. Like obviously for me, I remember actually the Liberty Cup event actually really irked me. Not because the event itself was like put on badly. It was actually I think pretty well done. But I had been accustomed to like, you're flying outside in these big, large courses all of the time. And then every time I had a major race, especially in the DC area, they threw you in some kind of gym or garage or like some really tight, cramped place. So like I said, screw 5-inch props. I'm going to switch down to the 4-inch. I'm going to be more nimble, more agile. Then I went out to the Liberty Cup race, and it was like literally max speed, full on straight. So it's like I'm beating people in the turns, and then there's just like a 30-second straightaway where it's like everyone was just bulleting past me, and I was just like, well, I did not plan or prepare for this one correctly. But as far as the interviewing and all that stuff was concerned, yeah, I remember at the Liberty Cup when they kind of had like a couple of this like random offshoot kind of guys. I never even saw any of the actual video from it. Your guys' situation seemed a lot more kind of organized, like kind of planned out. We kind of sat there, you kind of talked to us kind of beforehand, kind of went over some special things about us, and it just felt like, yeah, it felt kind of natural, and it felt fluent for me personally.
Oh, that's good. Because we definitely try, but like, this is our first time as well. We were like, I hope this flows well. And we're actually still gathering all of the media and then shipping it off to the company that's going to edit it. So it'll eventually come out. And hopefully, you'll enjoy all of it. I'm sure Justin will email out to everybody to go watch it because it's going to be about you anyways. And like by virtue of you coming in, yeah, everybody knows. By virtue of you coming in third, I'm pretty sure you're going to have a big spot in it. So I'm just going to say, I would assume so. So like
some people probably interview will never make it on there.
Don't say anything. Don't say anything.
I'm not saying nothing. I don't want to say nothing because
you're the one that brought it up.
I'm just saying some people's interview won't be on there. That's all I'm saying. Don't be trying to draw nothing out on me. I ain't the one.
You're the
start
one that
nothing, there won't be nothing.
See,
Oh, wait a
you're
minute.
just trying
We
to
don't
be
do
funny
drama.
now.
Sorry.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Okay. Okay. Anyways, once you got into the air and you started doing your qualifying laps, what do you think of the actual racing format, and also how you guys progressed as a team?
So none of us were, I think, prepared for the pit stop. So that was like a whole new element that like no one prepared or practiced for. Hey, put this splitter on your battery and like swap out your battery. Don't let your machine get powered off or you're disqualified. And it was just like, wait, that's really important information to be telling me 5 minutes before I got to go up and like fly here. But I couldn't really, bitch or complain because maybe he had already announced that and kind of gave us all of that information and other instructions that we didn't get the night before. So I was just like, whatever, just roll with it and go. But then I later found out that everyone was just as confused about that one. So basically taking off with all that one, didn't really know what to expect. I was just like trying to use those first laps just to get my thumbs warmed up. So, you're sitting there just kind of twitching and jostling around. And so I'm just kind of flying through, just trying to get a layout of the track. Because like I said, it was the first time that I had ever seen it. I didn't see any of the pre diagrams or anything like that. And then once they kind of threw in that kind of pit stop element, it was like a really weird thing at first. Like I honestly really hated it and thought it was like the most most dangerous thing you could do.
Very dangerous.
But then by the end of the actual event, I was like, you know what? Nothing is really good the first time around. What version of iPad, iPhone are we on right now? It's like, I can see in the future it can be something much, much better than what it was. By the end of the event, it was an element that was kind of like more understandable, and I could see in the future where it could maybe change into something, better.
Right.
Cool. Jason, what do you think of the format, and also how you just got thrusted in there saying, hey, go swap batteries and do 6 laps and blah, blah, blah?
I had no idea there was a pit stop, and I thought the pit stop was going to be like, oh, you can power down and plug in a new battery. I knew as soon as I saw that splitter, because I use those splitters in AP rigs for running dual 6 cells that make a 12 cell basically, and then run everything in parallel. And I was like, this is going to turn out horribly. Because all those connections in there are all lead-free because they're soldered up in a factory in China where their only solder they're allowed to use is lead-free. I'm like, we're going to get just horrible connection here. And so I flow with it. And especially in practice, I've learned, especially after Liberty Cup, people went really balls out in practice rounds and killed a lot of quads. And that's what I noticed. So I just kind of took it chill. I think I was averaging like a 24-second lap, which was about as slow as you can get, 26-second lap, and just learning the course and then learning lines and then slowly speeding up. Because once you get good lines, you can just increase your throttle and increase your camera tilt and basically just fly the course. So I slowly was increasing my times by about 1 to 2 seconds every practice round. And by the end, I averaged most of my laps for about 16:33.
No, that's pretty good, actually.
That was still good. That was still good times. I mean, I think we had like the lowest time was like a 11-second lap.
Yeah, that was Bilster.
I mean, of the contestants. I'm not talking about my lap, but because that was a lot faster. But
it was like a 42-second lap, I think.
Yeah, that was a 42-second minus 30 seconds.
Hey, as long as you made it to the end, man. As long as you make it to the end.
I didn't make it to the end the last lap.
Ding! It's like, oh, there goes that camera.
I killed 4 camera lenses.
Are you serious? You killed 4?
Yeah.
Wow.
All of my practice rounds.
I use the same pair of props the entire I don't think I crashed a single time. I think the very last race upon landing, I broke my first prop. I used the same pair of props. I didn't change a single thing out in the entire race.
That is crazy.
I was like, these are the lucky props. They're just gonna stay on forever
until they finally break.
I'm just gonna pin them back.
You guys did really well, man. You guys surprised us all. I know you guys surprised the other teams because there was some big names there, and they didn't do well. And I think it's because you guys had no idea how y'all was gonna work. Y'all just kind of like, let's just kind of like try to make it work, and where everybody else, the other teams had this theory and they had this guy as the leader and that guy as the leader, and they were arguing. I saw them arguing. It was kind of funny.
Yeah.
You see two teams arguing, and you're like, wait a minute, you guys are two separate teams. Why in the hell are you guys arguing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, emotions were definitely running pretty high over there.
Yeah, there was some guys really pissed off, but
and like
at the end of the day, too.
For me, there was like, I didn't even know there was like prizes on the line. I thought you were going to go home with like a trophy or something. So I had no pressure behind me. And a lot of these, I feel like having a team put together last minute just puts you in kind of either a really stressed out state or just a really chill out state. And like, I try to stay really chill at these races, because if you're stressed out, your hands are going to shake and you fly horribly. So I was there and my goal was like, have fun. And I was pretty much, I think, one of the only pilots that hands just didn't shake. I don't shake when I fly or when I race anymore. I used to like crazy. And one of the pilots I was racing, Anton or Garanto, part of the Flow Roaders team, he was like, "You're stressing me out because you're not shaking." And I'm like, I don't know how to not stress you out. It's just, It doesn't really
Sorry.
So,
that's funny. He's psyching out somebody by being chill. That's a rather amusing thing.
That's a trick, man. Granto, he's an old racer. He was trying to get you to get a little bit more nervous. He was trying to break your sweat, but
he's always trying to do that to me. He's from my local club, so he's always messing with me.
Okay. I do that.
Some pilot on pilot psyching out right here. Some strategy going on in the little flight line.
Man, that's racing, baby. That's racing.
Now,
very true.
I will say this though, because me and Elvin and our crew, we were kind of following the vibe, and even at the very beginning when you guys got here, and I think I was the one that I was actually telling you what the rules were with the 3 laps and the pitting, and because like we were straight there, we were just like right there, and like you guys were like all jumbled up, and you're like, and you were throwing out ideas and like trying to make sure you were all in sync. So like, but like, I would say by the time you'd done your second qualifier, all of you guys were like, okay, we're good. We got a strategy. We're going to fly and we're going to see where we end up. And I think a lot of teams that are just kind of, pre-built, like very late in the process, they have no expectations and they're open to all ideas. So like somebody comes up with an idea, says, hey, this is going to work and we're going to be able to finish. Most people are going to be like, yeah, let's just go with it until we get a better idea. Is that how it went?
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty much like, hey, we're going to come up Friday, meet some big names, have some fun flying around, see whatever this course is, make a day of it and go home. And then it was like, so it's like I'm just kind of come up and race and fly, like a lot of those guys out here in the East Coast, I'll drive, 2 hours down to a local race or an event or regional final. In fact, you guys, Safety Third has a regional qualifier. I think that's about 3 hours from me. I'll be there on Sunday to be flying against you.
I'm going to see Rambot this Sunday, which is going to be sweet.
So I'll be competing against you to get in get my regional qualifying spot. So
good luck, man.
Yeah, we drive around, we fly. Like I just want to come and compete. I want to see, I want to fly against the good guys because I want to know where I stand up in comparison. So that's just kind of like, let's see what you guys got. Let's see where I'm at in this whole equation. I don't have any expectations. Come out Friday, go home Saturday. That's fine. I had a good day. And then all of a sudden it was like, no, you're here Saturday too. Oh, you're here Sunday too. And I was just like,
you don't go home yet.
We were getting an Airbnb or a hotel literally every night on the fly. At the end of the day, it was like, wait, we don't know where we're sleeping yet. So like,
are you serious? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know we were going to be here tomorrow. So like, let me start making some phone calls and Googling stuff.
Wow.
And then Freshness finds a spot in Boston. He's like, oh, let's just stay there.
Yeah. One of the guys almost booked us the room. He's like, and we're like, wait, dude, that's in Boston.
That's like 12 hours away.
Yeah.
That's a long drive to go get some sleep.
He's a fun guy, a little all over the place at times though. But Freshness. He wasn't interesting. He was an interesting element, but like one of the funny things, he was jumping for joy. Basically, the race, he was super nervous. He was actually going against Matter for one of the qualifiers, and he's actually only been flying, I would say, probably for about 7-8 months. However, he flies in our club, and even me, like with my experience in flying every week, like the guys in our club are really, really good. Like you really have to fight for a spot on the podium, to the point where like I was like, man, maybe I'm not that good. But then when you actually start looking at our UTT times, like we're all within like there's like 4 or 5 of us that are all in the top 10 of like every one of the UTTs. So it's like it's a really fast, a really powerful club, and that was actually Expert Drones. Those were the other guys that were from our club as well. So they came up and they were dominating and kicking butt too. So it's just like we compete every week. Like we're not here to like mess around. Like we want to fly.
Oh, that's two of the baddest teams gonna be at this next race. Well, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Expert Drones and Concrete Quad going at it again one more time. Hey, why you think we need to get on a plane and do some play-by-play, man? What's up?
Somebody plays for
Is
my
Expert
plane
Drones
ticket.
coming to the Sunday qualifier?
I'm sure.
Yeah, although I can pretty much tell you, I know Bill will be there, but pretty much everyone within Expert Drones is already qualified.
So Bill's already going to take my slot. That's for sure.
Well, you get 5. So I know we all went up to the Delaware. We all went up to the Delaware race. So pretty much everyone on the Expert team, Expert Drones, like took all of the spots, the 5 spots in the Delaware race. So if you don't end up getting at least 5th place of yours, you might have to come down to the Maryland Quad Racers event, because then pretty much everyone competing there will already be qualified.
Well,
there we go.
Don't not go, because what'll happen is, even if they beat you, they can't take 2 tickets.
Exactly.
They have to pass it down. So they'll either pick where they live at, or where I think it's you don't really have a choice. So if you win in 2 positions, the last one you won, you have to give up. So I think that's how I remember how it's going.
It drops to the next person. So the top 5 people, if they're already rated, they go down to place 6, 7, 8.
Right. So you just got to come in, brother. You just got to come in. You know how to do that. You just did that. Just 2 weekends ago.
Don't wing it, but I would say you never know what's going to happen race day, because like the guys from Expert Drones, they were fast, but they lost in the end because their quads weren't working, right? It wasn't because their team wasn't good.
They kept running into shit.
Every night I was building my quad back up because I either had an ESC fire, my motor broke, I like threw a magnet, or just something I was like building a quad with ESCs from 2 years ago that I didn't even know I had any.
As long as it keeps flying, you got to finish to the end, right?
Very true.
Man, that's funny.
Good.
Hey, you know what?
Now
you know, next time you go to a concrete course, you're just like, all right, I'm quadrupling the amount of parts I'm bringing so that I know exactly what I need.
Yeah, you need
Sounds like
3.
you guys need a mechanic.
3 quads is the magic number to bring to these big events. Like I learned that one the hard way too. Like one of my first big events, I flew out just from the startup. Some guy took off. Somehow his prop went into my FC and my 4-in-1 ESC and destroyed my 4-in-1 ESC. And it was like, well, I drove 2.5 hours out here to fly for half a second and then just sit here for the rest of the day and go home.
That sucks.
Hey, I don't know if y'all seen that commercial, but he had that look on his face. Wee.
Yeah, it wasn't a fun event, that one.
All right, so last questions about it, because we don't want to give away too much of Dover. When you realized that you were going to make it into the finals, Sunday, what were your expectations at that point? What was going through your head?
I remember I literally walked back to everyone and was just like, because, Farnham, a lot of guys, they were like, oh, man, we got a chance at like money. We got a chance at this and da-da-da. And I was just like, shut up.
I was like, don't tell me.
Yeah, don't tell me anything. I don't care. I don't care who I'm racing against. I don't care about the money. I'm just trying to stay in my zone and just keep concentrating on doing exactly what we're doing and just basically flying. Like everything else is just a distraction from what it is that you're doing. Knowing that the guy that you're flying with is 2 seconds faster than you on average doesn't make you a better pilot in the race. Knowing what that take, like it's like, nah, man, just put that to the side. I was saying to everyone, hey, this is all bonus. We expected to come out here Friday, go home Saturday, and that was the end of it. So this is all just bonus, and that's how we need to think about it. It's just have fun doing what we're doing. This is bonus.
I stopped looking at who I'm going against because if I start looking at it and I start seeing like professional pilots, it's going to stress me out. But I know they have a lot more stress on their hands than I do, because they have this, like, they have to do well because they fly for Lumineer, or they fly for some like team that flies them all over the world to go have fun. And I'm like, if they don't do well, they're going to get yelled at. So they're already stressed now.
Yeah, and there was that going on.
Yeah, so like I ended up beating Mad Air, and Freshness beat Mad Air, and I was like, and we ended up beating the race flight team, and I was like, so these pilots aren't any better than us. They're just celebrities.
So, and the other thing is, I want to interject about the beating the Mad Air, because that was actually there was a Instagram post, like, because Freshness Farnham, he was so pumped and so happy that he was so unexpected, like just completely unexpected. And it wasn't that Mad Air was actually like slow, like I think he was a whole lap ahead. He just crashed out, and so it's like the crash, you don't win. And so Farnham, he was like, he was really excited. And so he put this post out, and actually, like, one of the guys from the team was like, "Oh, big man boasting about this and boasting about that." And I was just like, "Oh, I wasn't boasting about anything. This guy is like the Michael Jordan, the LeBron James of this sport, and you wouldn't be excited if you scored a point on like Michael Jordan or LeBron. Like he's excited. No one's talking crap. It's just like." So I could tell that there was that frustration, that anger, that people really had a lot kind of riding on this, and it kind of expressed itself a little bit after the event. But I just wanted to make that like clear and stuff like that. Yeah, there was no animosity, there's no gloating or anything like that.
Not from you guys.
Yeah.
No,
he messed up.
Yeah,
he messed up. Shit,
Yeah.
You know what happens when I mess up? Somebody go, I beat him. I lost. What are you supposed to say?
Yeah, I know one of the big ones, a lot of people throw out the VTX issues, but I'm just like, everyone's having VTX issues.
Everybody
every time in that back corner, my screen rolled. Like, so the bottom of my screen became the top of my screen, and the top was the bottom. I went extra slow so that I could make out the difference and get over the lap, and then my screen would eventually go back to where it needed to be, and I would keep flying. And so, but I think that's just how I just used to it. Like, I've never been at any race where like I just had perfect VTX and never any issues ever.
Look at that last lap. I mean, that last race, somebody's VTX went out on the line.
Mm-hmm.
They never took off.
Yeah, it was hot out.
It was hot out.
So,
and I personally, if you ask me what the mark of a true professional FPV pilot is the fact that they can overcome challenges like VTX issues and video issues, because it happens in every event. It's like, if you can only fly fast when you have perfect video, that's like 0.01% of all races out there. It just doesn't happen. You gotta go with what you're given that day, and if you're the best pilot that day, then you win out.
I can go really fast in my backyard, but when I fly with somebody else, I'm going 2 miles an hour. That's like, okay, that doesn't prove anything. You're just fast by yourself.
Yeah, when you're sitting there racing by yourself and you're the only one in there and your video is just flawless and all that. Because I don't know, that's kind of my strategy. Is like every race I've went to, and in the very beginning I used to complain and get mad about all the little things and get frustrated, like, oh, like this thing is like bad, or oh, my video is bad, or this was the reason. And I had to just kind of tell myself, hey man, like there's a pattern here. You need to learn how to deal with it and keep on moving forward. Otherwise, what happens, it like has this kind of perpetual motion where you just get more and more pissed off, and as the day goes on, you end up having this horribly crappy day because you're just stressing out about and thinking about, oh, my VTX, oh, my this, oh, my that. It's just kind of like, you just got to keep flying and keep racing.
One of the things that pilots around here and I talk about is that on any given day when you show up to a race, your video is going to be different, right? And if it's bad or if it's good, your adjustment is going to dictate how well you do that day. And it's all really up to you. And if it's so bad that you can't fly through it, then you need to voice it to a race director and have them swap you between different groups to see if you can clean that up. But it's never perfect. I mean,
I remember one of the guys from one of the bigger name teams. I don't want to put anyone like out there in like a weird spot. I remember they walked over to the director and were just like, "Oh, I had like bad video that round. Like I want like a redo." And I was just like, "Hey, I'm not calling you a liar or anything, but like, do you have DVR of that horrible video?" "Oh, like no, I don't." "Okay, well, not calling you a liar, but I also had bad video." How prove me wrong?
Right.
Like, well, that's we're not lying and da da da. I'm like, no, I'm not saying you are, but what about if that guy over there wants to say he has bad video and wants an extra race? Like, it has to be a fair format kind of for everyone. You can't just kind of, get mad because something happened. It's like it has to be fair, because once you open that floodgate, everyone can take advantage of those stupid little things. And I actually think the director Justin, right, he actually held it down pretty well. And I actually even said to him, I was like, thanks, man, it's really nice being one of the small guys and not just getting stepped on and seeing other people getting special permissions, because I have seen that at some of these events where I've
we see that. You ain't the only one.
Like the fact that I even got a disqualification. You disqualified me. I was like, you know what? I think that disqualification was lame, but I respect the fact that you stuck to your guns and at least made a decision. I'm still mad about it, but what am I going to do? And the fact that then the next time that happened and he was firm with those people too, it's kind of like, okay, I just gotta at least it's fair.
It evens out at the end, and that's what you can hope for.
And if you can overcome that, that's the key. If you can overcome being disqualified and still doing well, then you're flying your best.
Well, I think that's one of the things about one of the aspects about team racing that's so good is you have opportunities to mess up. I mean, we're still, this is beginning, right? So, there was opportunities to mess up, chances to accomplish finish the lap. A lot of guys just didn't finish. I mean, the reason why they didn't do well is because whatever it was, whether they drove too hard or they didn't drive hard enough, or they whatever issue they had at that time, they really wasn't prepared for this race. I mean, really, when you come down to it, it was just straight up. Those that took their time, thought about what they were doing, finished the race. Those that finished the race is where they placed well. Look at the number one team. They just was completely consistent, even though they had three DNFs, did not finishes, which was disqualified. They got 0 points. They had 3 of them, and they just kept flying, just kept flying. And they did get a little, they got a little tipsy, a little pissy with each other, for a little bit moment. But in the end, they said, you know what, we stop. They took and I remember them taking a moment and saying, stop, listen, let's just take a break and walk away. And they walked away from everybody, went for a little walk, and they came back, and everybody had a nice, cool smile on their face. And it looked like, okay, they're ready to do this. And that's what happened. They just kind of calmed down and let everything go. Just like kind of how you guys did in the beginning. I mean, toward the middle, day 2, you guys popped into y'all consistent mode, and it's always great to see what changes the race and what changes racers. And that's what makes a professional racer. You, Jay Hubby, you are a professional racer now. You've experienced combat with some of the best pilots on the planet, and you didn't waver. That's important, because in the end, like you said, your hand is steady. My hand is steady too in a race, before a race, after a race, it doesn't matter, because either I'm going to perform or I'm not going to perform. And that's how I see it. And, the chances of you making a mistake is determined by how many times you practice, because the more you practice, the less mistakes you make. So a lot of these pilots don't really understand that. They get out there and they go, I got to push harder. It's about stick time.
Yeah.
Developing that memory, that muscle memory to put the stick where you want it to win it. Because if the quad is tuned properly, it's going to do exactly what you tell it to and win.
Definitely. And it's actually like me and Elvin, we go through the whole team stat sheet, right? I mean, like, we go down the whole thing. And when we went to your name, we were like, I'm not sure how this team's gonna do, right? And then I find out about midway through, it's like, oh, these are the Maryland guys. They fly with Chase in them. It's like, oh, these guys they're gonna be fine, because the level of competition always dictates how well you do. It's not always about the names, and that came out during the event. Although I will say that Platinum Misfits, they were actually my underdog that I picked, but it was because they they were kind of a rogue team, but that's a different story. But I knew your team was doing well by about halfway through. I think all of us kind of pegged you guys as being able to get into the finals, which is really cool. And, congratulations on that third place finish. And I will never forget, because I was calling the last race and I miscalled it because like your quad actually went through the final gate and the competitor's quad actually went over and you just came running up to me and you're like, we finished. And I was like, okay, don't worry. What I said doesn't matter.
That call. Yeah, I heard you make that call, that head to head, and I walked up. I was like, no, Jay Hubby made it through.
Yeah, that was my last race.
Yeah, that was crazy. How did he miss that?
I just posted my DVR from that race yesterday. That's up on YouTube. And I was getting 16 and a half second laps for that for the first 5. And then on that on that 6th lap, if I wanted to get second place, because Bill had already won, we were racing Bill. It was the Platinum Misfit guy and me. And I was and then somebody else, but he crashed out. And on that last lap, I got a 14:15, I think. So that was my fastest lap of the entire day. And we are at that part where you have to spiral around the entire gate.
Yeah.
And I see his shadow in my camera, and you can see it very clearly. And I'm like, I have to go full tilt and just push it. His camera tilt wasn't high enough. So he didn't tilt forward. He basically just went like this and then throttled up over the gate. I just went down and forward, and I went through the gate. So it was crazy. It was absolutely insane. I was like, did I really just beat him, or did he go through the gate faster than I did?
You guys went around that gate almost simultaneously. I mean, you guys was like complete like two swans circling that gate like y'all was about to do some mating. Boy, I tell you. And y'all came around that corner. I was like, oh,
those are some weird words that define racing. I'm just gonna say.
Don't be looking at it like that. I know you got some problems, but don't be looking at it. I'm trying to. I'm for real.
I still love watching DVR. I still love watching the DVR from that race just to see the two shadows of like them right beside each other.
Yeah, we don't know how you guys didn't hit props. I mean, that's how close you guys were. We did have a couple of collisions throughout the weekend, and but that was so close. It was like, I hope we got a full good shot of that going. That's because if we could get that, man, it was sweet.
Yeah, no, because I remember there's even the other race that you had that was pretty epic where you crashed, but somehow you lost complete and total VTX signal. Like his it went black. Like
it went complete static.
It was completely black. And so I pulled my headset off, and I see he's about to get caught in the top net, and I'm just like, just kill throttle. You're gonna get stuck in the net. So he kills throttle, ends up flying over by you guys at the announcer stand, like the start gate, and just luckily it stays right side up. And then I'm just like, I see video again. He's just like, all right, I'm gonna try taking off. But his camera was pointed down, like at
it's like -5
angle. So he's just down at the ground, like kind of flying. And I'm like, look, man, I don't know how you're flying, but everyone else has crashed out. If you can just finish the race, you will still take second place.
Yeah.
That
was good.
Everyone has crashed. Just keep looking at the ground and tracing the course. If you can just finish, you'll take second.
I remember taking a turn and just like washing out so far. It was like, I have no idea where I am. And luckily it was it was the third lap. So I took a pit stop and they were able to fix my camera angle. But insane.
Hey, those are the teeny ones that made the difference, right? Finishing those laps got you where you are. So that's actually a really cool story. I didn't know that your camera angle got screwed up. See, look, aren't you happy about that pit stop now?
That's actually true. After that one, actually, one of the things to check was like not just check props and battery, but actually check camera angle and stuff. That was one of the things we were like, look at the camera when it comes in from now on.
Right. You guys, cool. I swear, it was just amazing how well you guys did. So it was a pleasure to watch you guys rip up the course. And I talked to IDRA. We talked a couple of days ago. We talked about some things that about the hobby as we growing up. And dealing with different challenges from different backgrounds and stuff like that from most of the other pilots. And I think, we talk about things and we understood the fact that, not a lot of us folks from the urban area, I'm not talking about everybody, but from certain urban areas, it's harder to progress into this hobby. You know what I mean? It's not something that's taught. It's not usually an option that we usually get an option to have, and to step out into the RC world is usually a great big leap because it's always a big financial thing, and like when I was growing up, it was just me and my mom, and it was hard because, if I wanted to do something, I was not only taken away from, my activities, I was taken away from her activities. I was, money had to be rerouted, and other opportunities had to arise, like cutting grass and stuff like that. And, so I got an RC when I finally moved in with my dad, which that was the opportunity because now that was the supplement for my mom not being there. But in the end, the opportunity that I have, I've opened up to other kids in the neighborhood. Like we have a little kid here in our apartment complex who I'm starting to teach to fly. And you, Ira, you have this need I see to teach and to help develop the hobby. Can you explain more about that?
Yeah, it's actually just working with one of the community centers right over there about getting a classroom or something specifically open for the kids. And so one of the biggest struggles right now is kind of looking and finding sponsors to, one, make it affordable so that, obviously, if I got an instructor or I'm there and stuff like that, it's like, it's your time, it's your energy putting into, I'm trying to get all the parts. So for any sponsors that might be listening out there, like I can pretty much tell you, once you start flying your Spectrum or your Tyrannus or whatever, like most people don't change. You get used to what it is you have. And so if I can give those guys your equipment as being the first thing, you can pretty much bet that that's generally what they'll be flying for the rest of their FPV RC careers because they have a good experience with it.
Right.
And so speaking of like kind of the community center and stuff, because I go out, I go fly, I'll have like 15, 16 kids like standing next to my track, asking me questions when I'm sitting here listening there. And like, I know sometimes you're like, I don't like to be bothered like while I'm flying and stuff. But when I see these kids, kind of asking me questions, it's like, I actually got used to talking to people. So I'm answering questions that they have. I build a second headset. I'm like, here, man, pass this around amongst the crew. You can see what I'm seeing. I'm flying through, sometimes I got to, tell the knuckleheads, hey, don't stand in the gate. This thing's, this thing's coming at 100 miles an hour. You're not going to be able to get away in time.
Right.
And it might not end so well for you. But so that's kind of what I'm doing with like the concrete quads. We started up as like a multi-GP chapter. One of the biggest things that happens when people come out to fly for the first time or come and see it, what is this? How much is it? How do I get into it? How do I get involved? And that was kind of like my cue to say, you know what? It's not that expensive. It's not that difficult. I'll teach you. I'll show you. Instead of going and working out at the gym in the evening, come over, we'll do a class together and we'll get you in and out with an actual quad and get you kind of flying. And that's just kind of what I'm looking to do. If I can kind of do that in and around the community, which I'm like trying to push for, grab like some permanent spots, like community centers, like some library locations and stuff like that, in and around the DMV, the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. I'm trying to start getting going about like 2-3 classes, 2-3 classes a month, just so people can kind of come in and kind of get into the sport because it's been growing. And I expected by this time when I'm flying one of these race drones that more people to know about it. However, I still find, especially in my area, people are like, "What is that?" And I'm just like, "Wait, you still haven't heard about this or seen this? Like, let me tell you about it." So
definitely. Yeah. And for people that want to know more about the classes that you're going to be doing, where can they find the information?
So, hashtag concrete quads, and then my own name, hashtag RombotFPV on Instagram. You can go ahead and send me an email on there, or find us on Facebook / concrete quads on there as well, and send me a response. You'll hit me up directly. I know it's working. I know it's been out there because manufacturers have been kind of reaching out to me as far as like parts and trying to supply things and stuff like that as well. So trying to get that going. I'm trying to buy as much in bulk. It's actually coming out of my own pockets just because I want to make it it affordable at an affordable price point for people coming in. So I will buy and purchase all the parts in large quantities so that you can come in and actually have an affordable class and learn how to build a drone and kind of come out. So, you know, any support, anyone out there, I know a lot of the guys, you know, they're like, hey, you know, I try to buy quality products and stuff like that. So I want you to have a good experience. I don't want to buy a cheap Chinese, you know, piece of crap that's going to burn out on you. But that's extra money that comes out of my pocket. That's, you know, an extra $5-6 per unit because I don't have any sponsors from these guys. So I'm kind of going out and trying to buy these things in bulk to kind of get these classes rolling for people. So.
But that's really cool, man, and kudos to you for doing that because that's a lot of work and that's also a lot of financial burden to try to get all of that started.
That's how you say slim, huh? That's what it is. You gotta buy, you know, 100 ESCs and he can't eat them big old bags of potato chips he like.
Just sucking it in.
Hey, you know what? Best of success to you on that, and hopefully you'll get a whole bunch of new flyers. And you know, what comes around goes around. That's always what I say. Is like eventually somebody's going to be helping you out, especially you know if you get all these guys in the community involved and everything. It always comes around.
The guys in our club, they're like, hey, if you need teachers, if you need someone to teach, like, you know, help with classes and stuff like that. So the community is great, and I'm just trying to get more people involved and pulled into it. So, yeah.
And I'm gonna see if I can help get you parts because, like, I don't want to say I'm like basically sponsored like everywhere, but I have enough people supporting me and enough overflow of parts that I don't need. So I'm gonna see if I can get you some discounts so you can get ESCs or frames or motors.
That's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about.
Yeah, anything helps.
Yeah, definitely.
Listen, guys, listen. When we all work together, we can accomplish great things, right? I mean, when we all sit around and contemplate, we can all be number one. We can't all be number one, but we can all work together to make something or someone else number one, right? So we all sit down and we think about what we're willing to give away or give to our hobby, because you know it's all about what do you do for the next guy. I mean, you know, that's how we move ahead faster. Is the less work you make the new guy do, the more work you can teach him to take care of later for somebody else. If you feel passionate about something, you're gonna strive a little harder to get it accomplished, right? I mean, if you don't really feel passionate about it, you know, and the guy says, hey, man, if you come over here, you know, you got to drive 50 miles for you. I'm not going to make it. But if the guy says, hey, man, if you come down here and race with us, man, I'll give you a set of ESCs. And then now your ass is in the car. You're on the freeway going, this way, man, I'm going this way, you know? So I think it's a great opportunity for, you know, Rombot's got his thing going on. And Jason, you got some little things you went to school, right?
Yeah. So like I'm young. I'm 16. I'm a freshman in high school. I should be a junior, but I'm a freshman. I didn't get held back or anything. I'm not stupid. Don't worry. But basically for me, I started an after-school program called Laser Club. It was running partway in 2016. I started in 2016, 2017 this year up again. And it's basically Laser Club stands for Land, Air, Sea Robotics. And we have about 15 to 25 kids, depending on what the turnout is and day, weather. And I went through and I was just like, what do you guys want to do? And I wrote some ideas up on the board. We can do some aerial stuff. And that was by far like the most popular. They had seen some of my drone videos from just on YouTube. And they're like, I want to do that. I'm like, okay, well, you won't just pick up a controller and fly like that immediately. It doesn't just come to you naturally. And they're like, oh, no, we're really good at this. Well, trust me. And they're hitting Windows on a regular basis. So they now understand that it takes some time. But I was like, what's our budget right now? And I found out what our budget was. And I was like, okay. So I went and I bought all the parts for 2 quads. We built 2 really nice 5-inch tweakers. And my philosophy was, let's get the best components we can get so they can beat the crap out of it and not have any issues with it breaking. And we haven't had a single thing break on us. We've been using Unified Pros on 25 milliwatts. So our video has been perfect. We've been using tweakers and we got 4mm frames. So even though they're hitting concrete, they're not breaking. We've got really nice motors, D-Shot ESCs. Everything's about as high as you can get. And they're having a great experience with it. And basically just teaching kids how to be responsible, safety, and so kids aren't getting hit by quads, because I've been hit by a quad before. And you got to just have fun. Don't stress out. They're always like, oh, if I crash, I'm going to break the quad. I'm like, no, trust me. If this thing is going to be impossible to break at the speed you're flying at 10, 15 miles an hour, you're not going to be breaking these things. Fly how you think is going to best suit you. And as long as you don't roof a quad, you're fine. So I'm just trying to teach kids how to fly and how to have a good time. And pass them along.
I'll link you on a video, actually. One thing, because that's the biggest thing when I do the build classes. People are like, oh, well, it's so expensive. I'm like, all right, it's not that expensive. They go, okay, well, it's going to break, and I'm going to break it. It's like, I show them this video. A friend of mine, Jorge, he literally is like trying to tune his eye. And he's probably probably shouldn't have been. He's about 250 feet up into the air. So you're seeing like this aerial view, and he just loses telemetry, and his drone just goes limp, and it's just falling and tumbling to the earth, like 250 feet. You see all this grass, lands right on the concrete. In the background, like, F this, F that.
I know that feeling.
And then the very next video, he's like, actually, sitting there on his rig, he's like, it's not that bad. The GoPro came off. I broke some standoffs. The motors are good. The battery's a little jacked up, but like, it's fine. So I show everyone that video. I'm like, hey, you really got to try to break these things, man. You really have to put effort in.
Definitely. A lot of the new frames, like, they're so structurally well built. Almost every angle is actually reinforced. Although, right. I mean, there's a few areas where if you hit just right, you're going to snap an arm, but it's fairly easy to replace once you do that once, so definitely. I think it's really cool that both of you have been doing your own community service, getting your name out there, also getting, more people into our community, which is really the best way to make it grow. And, like, you two don't live very close to each other, right?
No, we're like 3 hours, 4 hours apart.
Yeah, New York, Washington, D.C., so
4 hours.
It's all right. So, like, is, if another big Pro Series race comes up, is Concrete Quads going to stay together, or are you guys... I
was actually thinking about that myself, because I didn't know what... I know you guys had your next events coming up. I hadn't heard anything about it, but anyone who wants to kind of come out and maintain, any of the original guys obviously have a number one spot on the team to come out and keep on flying. Like, that's how I feel about that. Like, I don't care, best pilot in the world shows up. It's like, no, these were my four. So unless one of them, unless one of them gives you their spot, then this is kind of what we're going with.
Pretty cool. Hopefully me and Elvin will get a chance to see you guys race again, maybe in the Nationals or something like that. It would be really cool to watch you guys compete again. But, we don't want to take up too much of your time. We really appreciate you coming on to the podcast and, just giving us a sense of how it went in Dover and also all the great community service that you two are doing. If people want to reach out to you, Rombots, how can they reach out to you?
So you can, like I said, the Concrete Quads on Facebook. You can reach me on Instagram at either Rombot _ FPV or Concrete Quads. Those are direct one, or even like my direct email, iramac@hotmail.com. That would be direct, and so all of those will route you there too. And so I'll be talking to you kind of directly. So
awesome! It was great to meet you, Mac, and it was a lot of fun to interact with your team for 3 whole days. Although we were pretty tired towards the end. I think everybody was.
I just want to say again, thank you guys for putting on that event. Like, as much as people complain about other things, there's always something to complain about. I've never been to any event where everything was perfectly on time, and it just has not existed. I don't know if you've been to Worlds and other major events. It's like that's just how it is, and you just kind of got to learn to adapt. Not everyone gets 20 minutes and an hour of their own time just by themselves to fly around on the track. You kind of got to learn how to fly cold. It's just like that's just part of the experience.
That's racing right now. That's racing. J Hubby.
Yeah, that is racing.
Yep, J Hubby. Where can people find you?
And if you guys want to find me, you can do Instagram, which is jhumby _FPV, JHUBBY. YouTube, same thing, only it's just -- FPV. That's where I post like 2 videos a week, 1 video a week normally. mostly freestyle, but then all my DVR footage, which is all edited and color corrected, so it looks really nice, is all on YouTube. I work really hard on my editing, so if you want quality footage that looks good, you can find it there. Or if you can't find me for any reason, reach out to Thunder Power or Quadristeria or any of the other sponsors, and they will send you to me through email, and that would be the easiest way.
Cool, man.
Nice.
I still got those videos that I was gonna send you for some editing.
There we go. Next time we come on the podcast, J Hubby's gonna do a whole session on editing.
Got 6 hours. He got 6 hours to do videos. I was like, man, I got a job. I got responsibility.
I really enjoy video editing. I spend like, I don't know, anywhere from 4 to 12 hours on a video, so really intense about it.
No, I mean, that's good, though. I mean, video editing, really useful skill to have throughout your whole life, so definitely take it. What? Elvin needs to learn on his video editing. Elvin, you need to talk to J Hubby like a whole lot more.
Yeah, I don't mind taking a class, man, because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I ain't gonna lie about it.
It's definitely confusing at first, but you gotta learn your software. So I use Final Cut Pro, and then you just gotta kind of play with it, and you get better over time and experiment. Like my first edits, a good 30% of all like my best videos were all shot on GoPros and then edited in iMovie, and they have over 1,000 views. So
like I overdo everything, you know. I'm one of those guys, you know. Like,
yeah.
I mean, listen. I could have built this.
I thought that was a shelf.
Might as well be.
Yeah.
You could use it as a shelf.
Like most people build it, but I actually built it so you could run into shit. Look. It caught on fire. Smoked the ESC completely. Like, there was just circuit boards.
I've had that before. I've had that.
That's what happens when you run it wide open for a minute.
Well, you know me. I don't fly slow most of the time. So, you know, but I tell you what, when y'all come to Portland, I'll take you out and you can fly one.
I might take you up on that one.
Because I actually, that's what I built those for. I got that from a buddy of mine. He was getting out of flying real quick. And I told him, I said, hey, man, I got a buddy coming to town and we want to go flying together. And that's a perfect setup. And so I rebuilt them both. And now they're medium range ships, which means we can fly 12 miles out and back.
God.
Dude, FPV pilot's like 12 miles out. Hold on, what'd you say?
Yeah.
You sure you didn't mean
that's
feet?
right, little buddy. That's right, little buddy.
That's pretty intense.
You know, but I mean, you know, it's for the beach. You know, going down the beach. You know, there's a couple spots where we can fly straight out for 2 miles. So.
And
you know,
and what do you do when you lose telemetry?
You start walking.
Well, one of them's got the right stuff in it. So
one of them will come back. The other one, you start walking.
Right. Mine will circle because I will be looking. I guarantee you, I don't push the limits. If you want to go far on that Spectrum radio, you know, you get about 1.5 miles.
Team fail safe.
And then, you know, if I want to go further, you know, there's a lot more distance I can go, but you know, I don't have to. I like flying together. That's one of my biggest favorite things is tandem flying. And look out, because I got some video coming this coming weeks, the next 2 weeks. Some badass tandem flying up and down the beach. Me and one of my buddies racing.
J Hubby, you're going to be getting a lot of messages from Elvin. That's all I just heard.
Oh yeah,
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
You need help.
All right, we're going to cut out. We really appreciate having you two on there. Hope you guys had fun with your team racing, and hope, you know, best of success in whatever you're doing. I know the multi-GP stuff is going to get hot and heavy pretty soon. So hopefully you guys go far, and we'll see you sometime down the line this year.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, cool. We are cutting out. Thank you so much, and we will be back next week.
Yeah.